Hello, you are listening to Newbies in the Fandom, a podcast that reviews, recaps, and talks theories and spoils some of the biggest franchises on the silver screen and your TV screen. My name is Rachael, and with me now is my best mate,
Moya.
We are talking Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 5, The Bells. And I don't know about you, Moya, but I'm just finding this whole season utterly disappointing.
I have to say, yeah, this episode in particular, I was just, at the end of it, I was going, just, ugh. Just disappointed. I mean, if this had been maybe in an earlier season, I would have gone, yeah, that was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
But this is second to last of this series.
Yeah.
I have been expecting, big things, and I feel like this is just winding things backwards. Yeah. I feel like we're making no progress, sort of, in terms of our characters, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Well, as we go along in this review, there's no point in lying. There's going to be a bit of bitching. This episode, for me, as well as most of the season, has been rather disappointing. But in a quick recap of last week's episode, The Last of the Starks, we kind of say goodbye to some of our characters like Tormund, Gilly, Sam. We find out that the northern armies are going south, and of course that the secret that Jon Snow is the heir to the Iron Throne is no longer a secret, as everyone in the Seven Kingdoms and their dog know that Jon is the heir to the throne. So we open up on this episode titled The Bells with Varys writing a note. So Moya, what do you think he's writing here?
Well, you can see in his note he's talking about the true heir, so that's obviously Jon. Yeah. Because he was, in the last episode he was there backing Jon, saying that Jon would be a better leader, and now he's got a legitimate claim and everything. So Varys is sort of doing his plotting and stuff, but for me, I'm like, why? In a vulnerable position there. Like, this is a secret that you're letting out, but you're still you're still a council member to Dany, so not really a good idea.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know what Varys is doing. You'd think as soon as Tyrion let this drop, he would have been like, okay, I'm going to get off this island and go and gather forces to take over Dany after she sacks King's Landing. So Varys is classic scheming, but a lot of good this does him, as we find out later on in the episode. A young girl called Martha comes in and says to Varys she's not eating. And Varys says, all right, well, we'll try again. So obviously Varys is trying to take out Dany now with poison because the girl's from the kitchen.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Okay.
So he's trying to, he's plotting moves to take Dany out.
Yeah, well then she's smart not to eat.
Yeah.
But actually I just think she's depressed.
She's very, very depressed. The little girl says to Varys, her soldiers are watching me, they're supposed to watch her. And then Varys reminds the young girl, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. I wonder if that means anything later on. We go to the next scene. Tyrion watches Jon, who has just come from Winterfell, and Varys talk. Jon tells Varys that the northern forces are 2 weeks away, so that gives us a bit of a timeline. Jon asks, how's Dany going? Dany's sad. Then Varys lets it be known that he knows.
That I know, that you know, that we know, that you are.
The king, the true king of the Seven Kingdoms. And Jon's just like, God damn it, Sansa.
What happened to the pinky promise?
Varys says to Johnny, you'll be a good ruler. You'll be a great king. And then Jon says one of his 3 option dialogues. He presses A, which is, I don't want it, followed by B, she is my queen.
Yeah, she's my queen. He continues to back her, you know. He says he loves her and everything, and like, come on, John, just wake up. You have to, like, this is coming down to it.
This is what annoys me. So John's following in his pseudo father's footsteps. Ned Stark was an honourable man, but as we find out this season, that Ned was a little bit less honourable because he kept a secret to keep John alive. So you think John would have went, you know, Ned Stark lied and was a little bit shady. Maybe I could be a little bit shady and not be so honourable. But no, John's an idiot. So, of course, Tyrion is watching this exchange, and, you know, Tyrion's going to die on this hill of loving Dany. Unfortunately, Tyrion sees this exchange and he goes running to the Mother of Dragons, who is sad.
Yeah, but her immediate response is like, oh yeah, someone's betrayed me, haven't they? It's John, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
And Tyrion's like, nah, it was Varys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she immediately went to John betrayed me.
But then she puts out her steps why it was John that betrayed her.
Yeah, but he you know, his only response is, like you have said, is like, I love you, you know, you're my queen, I don't want to be king, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like on high alert.
Yeah, she's not dick whipped anymore.
But he's very pussy whipped.
He's very pussy whipped. What a dickhead. He gave away his whole kingdom
For her, yeah.
Must have been a good lay. Unfortunately, they didn't show it. Tyrion says, no, it's Varys. And then Dany goes, no, it was John because I told... No, how does that... Varys knows because Sansa told you.
Yeah. And John told
Sansa, and I begged him not to tell her.
Yeah.
So that is Dany's mind. So let's put that in a line. Let's say that Varys is the last of the line. So Dany's pretty much saying this is what happens to this traitor, letting the other three know what is going to happen. And as we see in the next scene, Varys gets a knock on his door. And he's writing another letter here. What do you think that letter was?
Yeah, I know, but the weird thing is, like, he was writing, he heard footsteps, and he quickly goes to burn the letter.
Yeah.
But he knows he's being taken in.
Yeah.
So why... Oh, you know?
Unless there was, like, plans.
Yeah.
What was going on was like, okay, they can't have this or everything goes to shit, so burn it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was weird too. It's like, why write it and then...
If you know you're going to die at any moment, like you're going to be caught. But my thing was, why are you still there?
Yeah.
Why haven't you run away yet?
Yeah.
Like, you're doing all this plotting and stuff. You could do that anywhere else. You already have the information that you need. You know, like, get out of there. You've got your informants all over the place if you still need, you know, information and shit. But get out of there. What are you doing? You're just waiting to get taken in and die. Like,
or is he waiting for that opportune moment, which seems rather risky, that she's going to eat her food and be poisoned?
Yeah, like, you would think he's smarter than that.
Yeah. Well, we thought Littlefinger was smart, and look how easy he got taken down.
Yeah. So I don't know if he just... what his thinking was in that moment. Whether he was just done. But, you know, if your goal is to get John into the throne, you'd think you'd want to stick around to see that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
Absolutely dumb. Varys gets a knock on his door. He gets taken out into the rocks near the beach. And I thought it was a pretty cool moment. I was like, I know he's going to die by dragons, but is the dragon going to fly in? But the dragon was already there. Tyrion says to Varys, it was me. And they share a look. And Varys is like, I really hope I deserve this. Like, he's saying, I really hope she is a good queen and I'm just being fucking paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a nice moment between the two of them, just of mutual respect, that Tyrion would say to him, it was me that turned you in. Like, I'm sorry, but he didn't really have to say anything else. They just exchanged that look, and Tyrion, touches his arm or whatever, and the deal is done, yeah.
When you were watching this show in its early beginnings, did you think he would go out like this?
No, I thought he would, he seems like one that's so behind the scenes that he could just slip off somewhere, go and live somewhere else for a while, come back, whatever,
Like, put the pieces in place and then fuck off. Yeah, instead of staying and waiting to die.
Yeah.
Like a idiot.
But yeah, so, so that happens. Dany, basically says, I, Daenerys Stormborn, yada, 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 whatever her name is, sentence you to die. Okay, and then the dragon comes in, and I thought it was a cool shot of Drogo just slowly coming in from the shadows, and he sort of looks at Varys for a second, then just bang,
Draws it out.
Yeah, and after that happens, Jon looks over at Dany, and he's just got this little bit of concern on his face. And I'm thinking at that time, because he was always told by Ned, if you sentence a man, you swing the sword.
Yeah.
So he would have been thinking, this is, is this Dany just swinging the sword?
Yeah.
Or is this, is this out of vengeance? Or is this because she's desperately trying to hold on to her power?
Yeah.
And she'll do anything to do that. So that look of concern, I think, there's those things going on in his mind.
Yeah, that's Jon going, is she killing this man in such an extreme way to keep me a secret? And this is,
How far is she willing to go to hold on, to keep the secret that he was trying to put out there?
No, that look was definitely the first, and it took him a while to give Dany. Actually, he has been giving Dany those looks throughout, but now he's realising, this is something. This actually might be something now. Yeah. What an idiot. He knows nothing, Jon Snow. After we say goodbye to one of the best schemers in the Seven Kingdoms who, I think it was a good death. I didn't think I don't know. I think he should have done more for it. But yeah, it was a good death. Went by dragon.
Maybe a nice speech or something. Yeah. I'm afraid that you're going to turn Mad Queen, so I'm trying to protect the people. I don't think you got the people's interest at heart, and yada yada. Maybe that to make Jon put more doubt in Jon and Tyrion's mind. Something like that. Varys pretty much gave up. It was like, I've been caught. That's it. That's the end of my story. Put up a fight, man. Come on.
We go back inside to Dragonstone, where they're based at the moment, and Dany is holding Missandei's collar, and her and Grey Worm just talk a little bit about Missandei. Dany gives Grey Worm Missandei's collar and throws into a fire. What did you think that meant?
Well, that, because she was holding on to the collar, so she was holding on to, that subservient, past, that slave past, and maybe now in death she's released from that. She's free, so he throws the collar in the fire. That's what I took it as. And it also shows that these two characters in particular are so affected by her death that it's got consequences. It's not just some random translator that died.
Yeah. It hurt. It hurt them both.
Yeah. It was, the death of the Queen's best friend and the death of the main general's, lover.
Yeah. I saw this moment as a moment for Danny and Grey Worm to go back into their stoic, I don't have a weakness anymore. Because Grey Worm's emotion has always been Missandei, and he doesn't have that anymore. So he goes back to being a soldier. And Danny goes back to being a conqueror, not a queen. John enters the scene, and Danny says to Grey Worm, let him go. Let us talk. So Danny and John talk.
Once again, her focus is on, she's blaming Sansa. If you didn't tell Sansa, blah, 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 this wouldn't have happened. John's still like, I love you. You will always be my queen. He's still trying to desperately convince her that he's not a threat to her rule.
Yeah, he doesn't want the throne.
He doesn't want the throne. I just want you, She's like, yeah, nah, I don't think so.
It's amazing how he says, I love you for the first time, and she doesn't believe him.
Yeah. And then, they go in for a kiss, and he pulls away again.
Yeah.
And in that pulling away, she's taking that as like a rejection. She's also taking it as a rejection of love in general.
Yeah.
Because
from the whole country. Because
the people don't love her, is what she says.
Yeah.
They fear me, like. So if I don't have their love, then I'll just rule them by fear.
Yeah.
And it's the same with him. You're rejecting my love, or you're not showing me love.
Yeah. So is it you've been doing what you're doing out of fear and not out of genuine love?
Yeah. I think that's part of the question as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Danny is having a very, very bad couple of weeks. This is the end of John and Danny's romance right here. It's not coming back. John has just made it perfectly clear that he can't continue it on, and Danny has no time for fuckboys. She needs someone who can back her up.
How dare you call John a fuckboy?
He's not a fuckboy. He's a fucking idiot, but he's not a fuckboy. So let it be fear, says Daenerys Targaryen, and then we switch to a talk between Tyrion and Danny. Tyrion is telling Danny, please do not burn down the city.
And Grey Worm is in that
in this discussion.
He hears Tyrion's plea as well.
Yeah.
They both do. If the bells go off, that means they're surrendering. Just stop attacking. Just don't,
Like, people don't need to die.
Yeah,
if they surrender.
the innocents don't need to die.
Yeah. It's interesting here that Danny does agree to it. So Danny does agree, and Grey Worm hears it, and I think he agrees. But Danny says to Grey Worm, go and wait. You know what to do. I can't help but wonder if Danny and Grey Worm had already made a plan.
Well, I think they're on a level where they're on the same page.
Yeah.
They're on the same page on this issue. She doesn't necessarily even have to say, but if you have to kill every motherfucker in there, do it. He already knows that that's what she's thinking.
Yeah.
And that's what she wants him to do.
So Danny's going, okay, yes, if they ring the bells, surrender. But let's say before this conversation with Tyrion, her and Grey Worm have said, we'll take the city. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree because of that transition that she takes later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they are both on the same page in that they will do what they need to do if it comes to it.
Yeah.
And, I'll know, you'll know if that happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's what plays out later on.
And then Tyrion is grateful that Dany has agreed for the bells to surrender. But as Tyrion's walking off, Dany shoots him. Dany says to Tyrion, your brother tried to get past our lines. And then it was that moment Tyrion Lannister knew he was going to fucking die in the next 48 hours. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think, I feel like, why did she tell him that she has Jaime? But I feel like it was a threat. Like, we have your brother. If you try to betray me, I will kill your brother.
Yeah.
But it also opens up that opportunity for him going, shit, I've got to get Jaime out of this situation.
Yeah.
So
do you think it was a test? Dany was testing Tyrion's loyalty?
Absolutely, yeah. Because there's no other reason why she wouldn't just have him killed then and there. Oh shit, you're betraying me? Die.
Yeah.
It's holding on to Jaime because, to keep Tyrion in line.
Yeah.
Because she understands that he is an asset that she might need. So she doesn't necessarily, because she's lost Missandei, she's lost Jorah, she's lost her other dragon, she feels like she's losing Jon, she lost Varys, she doesn't have that many other people to turn to, if any.
Yeah. And like you said, lost Jon, and she's wavering on Tyrion. Mm. We go back to King's Landing for a moment, and we see a mother and daughter go through the gates of King's Landing through the city, and these two characters pop out throughout this episode. And you were saying, Moya, that they represent the POV of the people, right?
Yeah. So we do keep coming back to them and their interactions, what's happening on the ground, what's happening with the people of King's Landing, the innocents, a woman and a child, a woman trying to protect her child, just trying to somehow survive this whole situation. No longer like the last episode, the big battle episode.
Yeah, episode 3.
That was all in terms of the fighters.
Yep.
In the point of view of all the fighters, where we didn't see those innocents, they were in the crypts more of the time, and now we're coming back to these two because they're really trying to reiterate the impact on the innocents. That's why Tyrion is so intent on this whole thing with the bells. That's why Varys made this betrayal. It's because of people like those people. So
after we see the mother and daughter, we see that Jon and Tyrion have arrived outside King's Landing's gate, where they meet Davos, who they tell Davos that Dany wants to attack by daybreak, and then Tyrion asks Sir Davos for a favour. We don't know what that favour is just yet.
But we know that it involves smuggling.
Yep. We can trust him to smuggle someone somewhere. I wonder who. The Hound and Arya arrive at the Stark camp and then pretty much move, get out of our way. We're off to kill the Queen. And the soldier's like, who are you? And the Hound's like, she's a fucking hero. Yeah. It's like, she saved your asses. They don't wait to see if they can pass. They just keep on going. So then we get a little comic moment. Tyrion's, I would have to say, high Valyrian. It's not up to scratch. Thank God that the Unsullied soldier was like, dude, we speak English. We feel so embarrassed for you. Then we go inside the tent that the Unsullied were protecting, and we find that Jaime Lannister, the stupidest, the idiot of the Lannisters, has been caught. And Tyrion asks him, how did you get caught? He raises his hand. This won't be the first. This is the first of many stupid things Jaime will be doing in this episode.
Jaime, why are you here, Jaime? Why are you doing this? Her pussy can't be that good that you are so obsessed with your sister, that you have to go and like go after her. Like literally no one likes her except you. Like what the fuck? Come on, like Brienne was begging you, stay, you're gonna die. Come on.
Yeah.
Jamie, what have you been doing? Why have we had all of this development throughout the whole series of Jamie, he's not so bad of a guy,
He's redeemable.
He's redeemable, and he goes and does.
We'll talk more about it when we get to the final scene. Jamie and Tyrion talk. Tyrion loves his family and pretty much says, dude, get Cersei, get the hell out of there, and while you're exiting through the back door, ring the bells of surrender so we can come in. And Jamie's like, you're gonna be killed for this, for releasing me and helping, your brother and sister out. And Tyrion says one dwarf's life is worth the million, is a good trade-off to everyone at King's Landing. So Tyrion knows he's gonna die. It's the best thing he's ever done for the last 2 seasons, really.
Yeah. Well, they've given him nothing else really to live for.
Oh, yeah.
They like broke his heart early on.
Yeah.
What else has he got?
Yeah. So.
But his brother and sister.
Yeah.
Who he hates his sister.
But he loves his brother, and unfortunately his brother is in love with their sister. Peter Dinklage acting here, as well as Nicolaj. I can't say the rest of his name. I'm not going to learn it now. There's only one episode to go. Good acting, and I really, really did feel emotional watching this final goodbye between the brothers. Especially when Tyrion's like, you're the only one who didn't treat me like a monster. You're all I had.
I could not get emotional because I was still so annoyed. Jamie, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me?
You could still be up in the north in your fur skin blankets. Yes. Knocking boots with Sir Brienne. Come on. Mate, next episode we're going to see that Tormund's actually in the bed with her now.
Hey, didn't I predict this though? Well, see, she falls for Jamie. Jamie dies.
Is Jamie a fuckboy?
Jamie's a fuckboy. Jamie's a fuckhead. Jamie, you dickhead, what are you doing? Oh my god.
So just before we go on to the next scene, just a reminder that Tyrion has again said to Jamie, ring the bells for surrender. The bells, the bells, the bells. And we head towards the next morning. We go back inside King's Landing and we can see that the people are panicking. They're all trying to get to the gates of the Red Keep. We also see that Arya and the Hound are amongst the crowd. We also see that the Golden Company is outside the gates looking all nice and ready to fight, looking really fresh. The Northerners just look like they want to have a smoke and go to bed.
Now they got to fight again.
Yeah, they spent 2 weeks travelling by foot and then they've just arrived at the gate and now they're like, oh fuck.
Now we have to go into battle again.
Go into battle. A note that I have here is Jon is in full Stark regalia. He's wearing his Stark breastplate, I think. Yeah. He's looking very Ned Stark. So
and you can see the hilt of his sword with his wolf on there. Definitely giving me Ned vibes.
And also I think to the viewers as well, like he has chosen to be a Stark. He doesn't want to be related to a dragon after this, that's for sure. Again, we see the mother and daughter in the chaos of King's Landing. Jamie is in that same crowd, and I put here he tries to use his VIP pass to get through the gate. Doesn't work.
Golden ticket.
After Jamie tries to get through past the guards, he goes away, and then we cut to Lena Headey, Cersei Lannister, who is laughing all the way to the bank with the amount of acting she's done this season. $1 million an episode to drink wine and stare out the windows and to give a witty comment. And God, she's dressed so well. I love this costume.
Yeah, she always dressed very, the costumes they give her is always on point. Yeah. And she has that, I don't know what you call it, she's got that snobbiness, I guess, to pull off any sort of like fierce look.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what she does. She just looks fierce and has this, you know, snide looking face, and
is a perfect evil queen, the evil stepmother.
Just love to hate her. That is what I like in a villain sometimes, is not this good versus evil, everyone's got a little bit of, you know, good in them, yada yada. No, give me a villain that is just a straight up bitch or a straight up fucking asshole who I can enjoy hating, who I then want to see get their just dues. Give me that satisfaction.
Yeah, we'll continue on with that satisfaction of a good villain. We see that Euron is on the ships and they've got all their scorpions ready, and there were so many ships in the bay. Like, there was clearly over 50 ships, all loaded with scorpions, and somehow they all die.
Dany is riding around on Drogon, and that's when she starts to burn the fleet. So she flies in, somehow, you know, manages to dodge the 50, you know, ships. Massive 50-60 ships with massive arrows pointed at them. And I think she just does it with sheer force, just sheer angry, I'm gonna burn this whole place to, you know, smithereens type of stuff. That's the only way you're getting through all of that.
And plus they chose that time of day as well, so they couldn't look up into the sky. And it was also very lucky that it was a clouded day too.
It's almost like they had planned this.
It's almost like someone wrote that. Crazy. So Dany is just laying waste to the fleet, and then we see that she goes and attacks the gate, the border. She smashes through the gate part where Missandei lost her head the week before, and then we see the Golden Company, whose storyline really wasn't worth mentioning in the overall story.
They were brought in to die.
And they might have lived longer if they had elephants, let's be honest.
See, those bloody elephants.
They couldn't afford it in the budget.
No, you take one elephant and then you just use massive mirrors and then...
Cersei, after seeing the massive destruction that this weapon of mass destruction is doing, the dragon, she actually looks fearful. There's not many times Cersei Lannister looks fearful.
Yeah, I mean, she goes through life, like, making these plans, and the things she does seem to fall into place for her because she's so either backstabby and sneaky and stuff, or just through sheer will that she gets stuff done. And I think she's used to getting her way in so many situations, and this is sort of just this sheer force coming at her, or coming at the city and just destroying everything. She's probably not used to that. You know, she's up in the castles and the towers and yada yada. She hears about, you know, battles and this many people died, but she's never seen it, been face to face with it. She's never been in battle, seeing human beings die. You know, so it's never mattered to her, other people's lives, but she's seeing it in threat of her own life now. And that's the only reason she's starting to worry. And
it's she's seeing all her propaganda coming true before her very, very eyes. Cersei is determined. She is like, the Lannister troops are not going to stand down. They're going to fight for their queen. You know, we just need one good shot. Euron did it. We'll get it. And you see Qyburn's like, it's looking kind of dire for Cersei Lannister. I mean, good on her for keeping faith in her men. Yeah,
I don't know why her men would be so loyal to her. It's not like she's been such a great great ruler to them.
I don't even know how the Lannisters still have soldiers.
Yeah.
They've been fighting just as long as...
See, they must get paid well.
Yeah. Well, they can't because they have no more money.
Yeah, true.
Tywin said that when Tywin was still alive. What's that, season 5, 4? Oh, my God.
They probably got, the Bronn treatment. When we win, you'll get...
a lordship. Liar!
Lords, you'll all be lords.
We go back down to the streets of King's Landing, and we see that there's a standoff between Dany's forces and the Northern forces against the Lannisters. Dany lands in King's Landing in one of the streets above the people who cower because the fucking dragon is just above them, and they've never seen a dragon before. The Lannisters throw down their swords, and then we start to hear cries throughout the city, heard by all our main characters. Bells. Ring the bells. Someone please ring the bells. And the bells are rung, and then we see a sad Cersei, a fucking relieved Jon and Tyrion. Like, thank God for that shit. And then we see Dany.
These bells should be the most soothing sound of, or like so happy of a sound of victory, of we've done it.
Yeah, no innocent people have died.
But for some fucking reason, like that I do not understand and will never understand because it's stupid, it triggers her. Like, she gets mad, like, and she's like, she loses her shit and decides, no, I'm gonna fucking burn yous all. And I'm like, why, bitch, why?
So people were saying on the internet, and I don't know if it's true, but people were saying the reason why she flew off into the deep end is because the people weren't going, Queen Daenerys saved us, yay Daenerys, yay. And it was, earlier on, Dany said to Jon, I don't have the love of the people. Yeah. And Tyrion said to her earlier, if you don't attack and you'll see that the people will cheer and the people will love you. Those things didn't come to pass, and Dany snapped. I always believed in Dark Dany, and I always believed that Dany was going to do something to this extreme. I just didn't think it would be executed in such a piss poor way.
Yeah. Literally, she had won. People were surrendering.
Yeah.
There is no reason that should be the trigger for her to lose her shit.
Yeah.
Like, it does not make any sense. It's only for writing, the story purposes. Yeah. It makes no logical sense within the story. It's just because they need a villain because they killed their main villain, the Night King.
Yeah.
Then they wanted to subvert expectations. We thought it was going to be we thought it was going to be Cersei, which turns out, Cersei ain't shit. Yeah. And they're going, it's the bad, the big bad is going to be Dany. Yeah. But it doesn't make sense. Like, she, so much for like breaker of chains, and I'm, here to free people, save. It just...
So yeah, we're two sides on this. You would say, as a watcher, you never thought that this was Dany's projection.
No, well, it was always there.
Yeah.
But in that moment, and the way that it's executed, it does not feel genuine.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that was an earned turn.
If we had seen her mourning... what is the other dragon? Rachael. Yeah. And Missandei. If we had saw her directly, like, going to pieces on the regular, then that snap would make more sense. Yeah. But they didn't show that to us. They just said she's not eating. Yeah. She's off in the room somewhere, and she's just sitting around, just looking a bit messy haired and a bit grumpy and stuff.
I will agree with that. The snap wasn't built up enough. Yeah. I mean, her leading to this conclusion, yes, was. it's always been there in the background. There's always been hits, but the real snap, the turning point, wasn't earned, and I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah, but Dany was always going to do something of this caliber of a disaster. And most of the episode now is just Dany killing.
And you don't even see her again. You don't directly see her. You just see the dragon flying around on in the sky, just burning up shit.
Yeah.
So
it now becomes more about the people, Jon and Cersei.
Yeah, and I really feel like her being on the dragon is very much detaching her from the consequences of what she's doing.
Yeah.
If she had to go and stab each one of them individually, say, I hate everything so much, I'm going to kill yous all, stand in line, I'm going to fucking stab yous all.
Yeah.
That would take more of a toll on her, but she's riding around.
Yeah.
She can't really see everything that's going on down there.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you know, when there's drone strikes and stuff.
Yeah.
There's someone behind a computer screen. They're detached from what's really the impact it is. So she's riding around.
But I think that's, in the next episode, that's going to be one of the factors. It's like she doesn't care. That's why we don't see her reaction, because then if we would sympathise with her maybe.
But all of her development from the series is she is a person of the people. She's for the people. She's not for all the highborns and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what her whole thing has been.
Yeah.
And that's why it feels so disingenuous.
Yeah.
That they've decided to, do it in that way.
See, I always never got Dany wanting to... I mean, the Breaker of Chains, I get that she wants to end slavery and wants to free the people, but technically she also wants to be a monarch still. She still wants to rule a crown, so I don't know where this I'm here to change the rules is. She's doing the exact same thing. So... Anyway, it's very frustrating. Look, kudos to Emilia Clarke. I don't know who out of the main cast got the shortest straw, but Emilia Clarke got close to the shortest of the straws, because this, I mean, like I said, I've believed in Dark Dany since season 2, when she locked her servant and the king of, of one of the kingdoms into a vault. That's when I knew that she wasn't as good as she was saying she was. But I don't think that this was an earned villain turn. And good on to Emilia Clarke. She did a lot.
Oh, yeah.
She did a lot.
Absolutely, you want to talk, she's one of the pillars of the whole series. Yeah. Major stardom out of that.
And when she got the script, apparently after she read a certain point in the script, and obviously it was this episode, she left her house and just had to drive away for 3 hours because she was so shocked and in tears that that's what her character did. Because, good on to Emilia Clarke. So, as we were saying, everything goes to shit. We get the POV of mostly Cersei, the people of King's Landing, Arya and Jon. And as we're flying around, we see a flashback from season 5 of Drogon flying around King's Landing, which Bran had a vision of when he was in the tree seasons ago. So that shows that Bran can see into the future as well as into the past.
Well, why didn't he warn them?
He was downloaded with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of viruses getting on the werewolf net.
Probably his brain sounds like that loading sound of the old internet.
People are saying the reason why Bran looks so dead is because he knows how the season ended. So he's just like, I don't want to deal with that. Tyrion is in absolutely disbelief, despite the fact that everyone was saying she's going to burn down the fucking city. The standoff between Grey Worm and the Lannister armies breaks. Grey Worm, he's feeling things, throws his spear, and then we see another fight between the Unsullied, the Dothraki, and the Northmen just start killing.
Yeah. You know, he's taken the Queen's lead.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that need for some sort of vengeance, you know, overtakes him, and he needs to fight in that moment. He needs to just do some killing.
Yeah.
You know, he's angry. So he throws that spear, and yeah, everybody follows behind him. John's just like trying in vain, going, look, stop, you know, we don't
Need to,
you know,
they've surrendered.
Yeah. And I think that is ultimately what is gonna turn John, is that sense of he's always been that noble person,
Yeah.
and to go and attack people that have surrendered,
Yeah.
and then kill all these innocents.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to take that, you know, just lying down.
No.
He's not going to be able to follow Danny now.
Yeah, this is Jon Snow. You're an idiot. I'm so disappointed. You know, we can't be disappointed with the characters. We have to be disappointing with the writers, because they've just totally thrown out 7 years of character arcs on all of the characters.
Yeah. Because, you know, I think that's a lot of the argument, you know, with different stories. Is it what the character is doing, or is it the characters doing what they're doing because the writers are writing that?
Yeah.
You know, so if you've written for a whole bunch of seasons that the characters are this way, your audience has to expect that those characters will stay in line with their own actions
With
and
their past and history.
yeah. So when they go, oh, we're going to put this in for shock value, or we're going to do this because people aren't going to expect it, that sometimes just doesn't work, because it's so against what we're used to and what we expect and what we know as these characters.
Well, as we were saying before we started, it's this subverting expectations. It's just, we deserve, after 7 years, 8 years, who cares if the audience got to the conclusion? We are here to go, yes, that is how I thought it was going to go. I'm so happy it went that way.
And this is what the frustration I've had with a lot of shows is they pick that surprise factor because it gets a lot of reaction from people.
Yeah.
It gets people talking, gets people on social media going, I can't believe this happened or that happened. But we're at the end of the series.
Yeah.
This is the second to last episode.
Yeah.
We now, in terms of a story, we need payoff.
Yeah. And
We need satisfaction. If you keep not giving us those satisfying moments, people will turn off.
well, people have pretty much turned off. I watched this episode the first time around with the sound off. Like I just couldn't be bothered almost watching it because I was like, it is going to do nothing of interest.
Well, look, I mean, I'm doing a lot of complaining. There was good things in the episode. Things that I really enjoyed, character moments that I really enjoyed, but they were moments that felt genuine, they felt earned, that gave you a bit of satisfaction. You know? It wasn't the, oh my God, Danny's gone bad. I did not enjoy that. Didn't like it. It took me out of the story, made me frustrated.
It made you stop and go, well, what was the last 7 years all about?
Give us that. This is coming to an end. Give us that little bit of, you know, payoff.
All right, well, we'll talk more about this towards the end. But John is... Grey Worm starts attacking the Lannister soldiers. John realised that he's an idiot. He knows nothing. He is having a not good, very bad day. And after that, it's just a montage of death. This is what I wrote. Death, death, death. Cersei's reaction. Tyrion's reaction. Death, death. Davos helping people. John trying to stop people. Stark men murdering innocent people. John is getting PTSD. John stops a woman getting raped. That is what I wrote for the montage. Yes?
And he has to then kill his own man in that moment.
Yeah.
That's one of his troops, I think.
Yeah.
And so he's definitely like, this is going too far.
Yeah.
This is I didn't sign up for this.
After that, we have, out of fucking nowhere, Jamie winds up to the entrance that Tyrion talks about, and lo and behold, Euron's there as well. Freaky. Who would have thought?
Yeah, how did he know about the tunnel?
Yeah. So Jamie says to Euron, we have to go and get the queen out, and Euron's like, that's the sound of a city dying, bastard. Like, let's have a fight. Do you think you can take me, Kingslayer? He wants to go out on his own terms.
And he's got the gall to say he's a king because he fucked the queen. Yeah. Like, come on.
Well, he's also king of the Iron Islands, sort of, too, that Yara now has.
Yeah. He wishes he was king. But it made me think, like, does Euron really, like, care about her? Like, has he bought into the whole thing of her? You know, he's gone there to fight for her over Jamie, you know, like, I'm going to be the man, not you. Like,
well, see, for me, I thought the actor was playing that he actually did like Cersei, and he was really excited about the baby. So I was like, he generally loves her?
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot. All the men in this show are fucking idiot. So Euron and Jamie fight. Dany attacks the Red Keep. Qyburn comes up to Cersei and like, babe, like, girl, we gotta go. We got to go now.
Shit is going down. We got to go.
And she tries to rebuttal, and he just walks up to her and says, "No,
oh, sweetie,
no. We gotta go. You're in danger, girl. Let's get the fuck out of here."
In fact, if he had used that voice, I would have been 10 times more interested in this episode.
So Jamie kills Euron. Euron fatally wounds Jamie. Euron sits back and goes, "I'm the man that kills Jamie Lannister," which is fake news. We go to back into the Red Keep. We find out that Sandor, the Hound, and Arya Stark have made it that fucking far into the Red Keep. They look like they were in the map room.
Yeah.
So they were pretty close to Cersei.
Yeah. I just love that they're like so badass that they're like walking through the chaos, like, calmly. You know, calmly, just like, you know, there should be some sort of like cool music behind them as they're like going through and like untouched by all the like death and destruction sort of thing. But now is the moment that, you know, they have to really face what's going on, because literally the walls are crumbling down, you know, around them. And pretty much the Hound is saying, you know, just go home. Like, what are you trying to prove? Yeah, what are you trying to prove? Cersei's already dead. Like, if it's not going to be, you know, the dragons, it's going to be the
fucking building
Dothraki, the Unsullied. Someone's going to kill her. She's got to die tonight or today. Yeah. So why even bothering being here when that's going to be a threat to your life? Like, he says, you know, if you come with me, you'll die. And she really has to think about that.
Yeah. I also like how he says, this is 30 plus years of him wanting revenge on his brother.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Do you want this?
Exactly, you know. So he knows he's still got unfinished business, but she doesn't have to. She's still young. She can go off and, you know, go back and find Gendry and accept his proposal. But so she really thinks twice and decides, you know, maybe I don't have a death wish. Maybe I want to live, and maybe I should turn around. Yeah. And so she says, you know, thank you in that moment, and they part ways. I
also liked here, Maisie Williams is obviously the shortest ass in the cast. She looks so young and innocent again. She transformed in front of our faces. So good job to Maisie Williams. She looked scared. She looked vulnerable. Yeah, it was a beautiful scene, and I thought it was a nice goodbye.
He has always been like one of the standout characters for me. Always enjoy when he's on screen.
Yeah. So Sandor tells Arya to go, and she goes. She runs out, and then we see the Hound and the Mountain fight. The Mountain is escorting Cersei and Qyburn down the stairs, which I'm good on the builders of that building, because everything else is fucking gone. So the staircase is still there, and I was so calm walking down. I was like, the wall is gone. Yeah. The Hound and the Mountain face off, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to have a fight. And Cersei's like, you don't have time to fight, man. to the Mountain, you've got to protect me. And the Mountain's like, no, I have to do this. Oh, sorry. Also, I love it how the Hound says, Your Grace, to Cersei.
Yeah. Which is such an odd thing to say. Like, he's such a dirty mouth person, and like you would not think he had any respect for Cersei of all people. Yeah, but he's like, Your Grace.
And that's also him acknowledging her as his queen.
Yeah, what?
So I don't know. Well, so that threw me. So anyway, so Gregor, the Mountain, doesn't want to protect Cersei at this moment. He wants to kill his little brother. Qyburn says, "Wait, you gotta follow your queen." And the Mountain goes, "Yeet." That's what the kids these days say, yeet. Oh. He yeeted him into the wall, and he doesn't have a head. So Qyburn is dead. I thought he would have, I don't know, I was unsatisfied with his death. Should have died tortured. I don't know.
Some sort of Bruce Wayne.
Well, yeah, something more satisfying than that. Cersei goes, shit, okay, laters. Knows that she's not going to get the Mountain to follow. So she creeps past.
It's like, let her leave, because they're like, the Hound's already said it. She's dead either way.
Yeah.
So he's just like, whatever. I've got other bigger fish to fry, like literally bigger.
Yeah. I'm going to finish my story arc how I want to finish it.
Yeah.
Well, we see, so the two brothers fight. We see the Mountain's face. It's grotesque. He looks like a grey Shrek. We see the destruction of more of the Red Keep, and then Cersei is in the map room looking around. It's looking dire for her, and then her knight with the golden hand ends up in the same place as her.
Yeah.
You're very passionate about Jaime and Cersei.
I know, like, my only satisfaction in the, this episode was seeing Cersei come apart. Yeah. Was seeing her panic, was seeing her, like, in that room, and she was like, oh shit, I'm all alone. Yeah. And, like, I was just like, yeah, bitch, you're gonna die, fuck you. Like, I just don't like her. Yep. But I like that I don't like her. I enjoy not liking her. Yeah. And then bloody Jaime comes along, and they like see each other, and then they run into each other's arms and everything. I'm like, massively rolling my eyes. Yep. Like, can we not? Please.
So we leave the lovers' siblings for a moment, and we go through a montage. The Mountain and the Hound. We see Arya running through the streets, and it intercuts with the Hound's fight. Arya running through the streets
and trampled and stuff. He's getting, beaten up and bashed and everything. So they're still kind of connecting the two characters. Yeah. In those moments. We
see that Arya in parallel to Jon during the Battle of the Bastards gets pushed down and is almost suffocated under the chaos and the panic of the people at King's Landing.
And I'm almost glad that they don't depict her as like this like super ninja type person. In that moment, she's with the people, she's of the people, she's also getting
as fearful.
Yeah, just as fearful, just as vulnerable as they are.
Though she knows how to dodge a building, this girl.
Yeah.
Arya is saved from getting crushed to death by the mother and daughter that we've seen throughout the episode. They help her up, and Arya also sticks with them a little bit now throughout the rest of the episode. We go back to Sandor and the Mountain doing their fight, and for a moment there we think that Sandor is going to go out the way that Oberyn Martell did.
I was screaming. I was just like, don't kill him. Like, somehow, like, survive, please. Like I said, one of my favorite characters. Yep.
But unfortunately, he put up a good fight. He stabbed his brother through the eye. But I love the subtitles when this happens. He gets up and it says, he gives an almighty roar.
Oh.
But that's what it says, the subtitles. And then he goes straight through the wall and both of them and into the fire. I mean, he could be alive. The Lord of Light could have made him one of his dudes.
Yeah.
No. He's a believer, but poor thing who's been scared of fire his entire life was consumed by it. I mean, he probably would have died on impact, but still he fell into fire.
Yeah. And I think that was representing, like, he's been fearful of his brother. He's been fearful of fire for, most of his life because of this, horrific thing that his brother did to him. And in that moment was about, I'm not scared anymore. I'm taking you on. This is it. I don't care if I'm going to die. I don't care if I have to jump off this fucking building and into a pit of fire. I'm taking you with me. And I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah. So, goodbye, Sandor Clegane. You were a pretty good guy. You had a good redemption arc. One of only about 3 characters in this whole show that gets one. After the Clegane brothers go to fall to their doom, Jon calls everyone to fall back, and my note here is a little too late, Johnny. After that, Arya survives a building fucking falling on her, and then Arya goes and helps the mother and daughter.
And yeah, she's like, follow me or you're all gonna die. You have to keep moving.
Yeah.
Is what she's telling them. And she's literally trying to drag these two. Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, she can't save them.
Yeah. Arya throughout the last, I'm not going to say throughout the whole series, but the later seasons, she became just as robotic as Bran, and this whole episode really shocks her into being human again, as we see that this death with the mother and daughter does affect her, but we'll talk about that later on. But Moya, do you want to talk about this next amazing scene where we see the character development of one of our main characters just fucking get
like, it's so
pushed out like Bran.
So we have our little Jaime and Cersei scene, and they're trying to escape through, the bottom tunnels and everything, and with all the destruction happening, all the entrances are blocked off, and it's at this moment that Cersei's going, I want our baby to live. Please don't let me die. She keeps saying, I want our baby to live. I want our baby to live. And yes, we understand that one of her only soft points is her children and is her love for Jaime. So I get that, but I'm just like, she has not given a fuck about anyone else. I should not have to give a fuck about her and their little fucking incestuous romance like it's some sort of epic love story. Like, no, bitch. I don't care if a whole fucking castle falls on your head. I just wish Jaime wasn't there. If Jaime wasn't there, that would been like, I would have been like, yes, got what you deserved. Dying alone. Yeah. Like,
from your own.
Yeah, from your own stubbornness, yeah, and from your own, cruelty and not giving a shit about anybody. Mm-hmm. Like, God. And they, they swell the music and they're hugging, and I'm just like, fucking hell. Like, why did he have to leave Brienne, who loved him, who begged him to stay, who they could have been, happy, and they were equals, he wasn't a slave to doing whatever she wanted and thing like Cersei was. And he just reverts back to this toxic relationship. And I'm just like, what is this whole series been for in terms of his character? Why? It's so frustrating. Fuck her. Fuck Cersei. I don't care. I do not care if that bitch had a baby in her belly.
Yeah.
Like, who knows if that was even real? Like,
do you know what the most tragic thing about this whole thing is? Is that they've been framed as the greatest love story in this series.
yeah, like
That was it.
yeah, exactly. They've been there from day dot.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Really?
This was crap. Like, I really started disconnecting from this series from episode 3 when Arya killed the Night King, and I was like, it's going to go downhill from here. And I was right. Cersei Lannister deserved to take out half of King's Landing on her own because she didn't want to surrender. She deserved a better death. She deserved to be beheaded like Ned Stark in front of the Stark. Something glorious, epic. Not crying, huddled in the arms of the man that she loves, like she earned that.
Yeah. I don't feel sorry for her. I'm not gonna feel sorry for her. I don't want to feel sorry for her. Don't give me this cheesy bullshit.
Yeah.
Do not have that music swell.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I'm disappointed she went out like that. I am disappointed her and Sansa don't get another scene together, because they're two characters that needed to have a closing. And I am sad that the writers did that to Brienne of Tarth. Jaime should have died during the heist episode. He should have just drowned. Like, there is no point to Jaime's character. His whole point for the last 2 seasons was to get to Winterfell, to fuck Brienne, and to go back.
Like, can we not? Like, all I want is just a little bit of satisfying moments. Come on. I can watch through all the shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind that. I don't mind getting frustrated. I don't mind getting, like, shocked or whatever, all the crazy stuff that happens. But give me a little bit of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have horrible characters, they better die in horrible ways.
Yeah. Like, we were happy when Ramsay died.
I jumped for fucking joy when Ramsay died. It was a glorious day.
Yeah. Joffrey wasn't as good as it should have been, but, we were happy with those deaths. It was like, yes, they're dead. I'm happy.
They were horrible. They deserved that, satisfaction.
Yeah.
If you make me hate a character and then you say, we're going to give you that vengeance moment.
Yeah.
Give me that fucking vengeance moment, Give that to me. Don't soften it. Don't half-ass it. Don't go, oh, but look at her. She's so sweet.
Yeah, she
loved her children. She did it all for her children. And, no. Her children died because of her anyway. She was a bitch even though, she had children before. Like, well, spare me.
Goodbye to the Lannister twins, and I gotta say, people, they deserved so much better. Okay, so we head back into King's Landing, well, what's left of it, as it's looking like Pompeii at the moment. Arya Stark surprisingly survived the hell that just happened in King's Landing. She looks around, she sees the mother and daughter that she tried to save, and I didn't catch this on my first viewing, but on my second viewing I saw it. She's crying. I can't even remember the last time she did that. Maybe when Ned got his head cut off. She became human again. You could see that transformation. She is just looking around in absolute disbelief.
She's always had this relationship to death. And,
Not that much death.
No, well, yeah, not that much death, but there's always been that relationship, that fascination, and then at some point she started pursuing it, and then in moments like these, she really comes face to face with the enormity of it, and the tragedy of it, the emotion, the loss,
you just made me realize something. She's always saw death as revenge, but not as a disaster, or the emotional implication on other people it was.
And so now that she has to have experienced that with innocence, that died for no reason, now I think she's realizing, fuck, life is precious. I want to actually live. I don't want to die.
And revenge is fucking nothing.
It's not, there's no satisfaction there. So I think that's what that that was. And then they have this white horse trot up, and it looks just as wrecked as she is, out of the dust and the ashes and everything.
It's a very good imagery. Can't remember, but I know it's a famous quote, and I'm not saying for word, but it is in regards to the horsemen of the apocalypse, and it is, and upon a white steed I saw a face, and his name was Death. Something along that. Well, Death rides a pale horse. And Arya has always been associated with death. So Arya rides this white horse, and maybe it's to kill Dany, who knows.
So there's definitely some poetry there. There's some meaning, some sort of hint or clue maybe as to what's going to happen next. But other than that, it was just an absolutely beautiful shot. It was just it was like I think one of the more nicer shots of the episode. Just really stood out to me. And they must have done so much work, like just making that set and everything, and covering these actors in makeup and ash and fake blood, and even in the fight scenes earlier, they made sure that it was very gory. And I feel like that was to impact us as the audience to say, oh shit, this is wrong, because it was the Starks and our men doing the killing, and it was these Lannisters who were getting just absolutely chopped up and just beheaded and smashed and all this sort of thing. But and
I was wondering, because we were talking earlier that we don't see Dany's POV, and we really don't see much of Jon's. We see mostly of the King's Landing people. Is that the directors? It's going, this is about the people. We're making it about the people. So in the next episode, the audience doesn't know who to agree with. So the audience can't say, oh no, Dany was in the right. Didn't you see when she was riding on her dragon? She was distraught, but she had to do it.
And we have more impact of what the stakes are. Because we've seen all of this. Oh
yeah, it's definitely. I reckon it's definitely a way for the directors and the writers to go, Dany is a villain. There's no arguing about this anymore.
Well, they like I said, they're off to the other main villain. Early on in the season,
they've taken out Cersei,
and now they've taken out Cersei. They have to replace that with the next villain, because this is the end. They have to have somebody to fight. It can't just all be like, oh, okay, so Dany's won now. Happy families. Let's all start to rebuild, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end.
So obviously that's not going to happen. So what are your thoughts? We really can't predict anymore what these episodes are going to do.
I don't know. If you try and predict on past behaviour, it's probably the opposite of that.
Okay, so past behaviour. So we'll go the opposite of that.
So John's gonna turn evil.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
He's gonna join Danny. Danny's gonna die.
Yeah.
Fucking Tyrion will end up being king. Who else is alive still?
The Starklings in the north.
Oh, yeah. Fuck knows what they're gonna do.
Look, as long as my girl lives at the end, Queen Sansa, the Red Wolf, I really don't care. I don't care if Arya kills Dany anymore. Yeah, it's like as long as Sansa is alive and ruling, fuck it.
For me, it's John. I don't care about any other. Well, I care about the Starks, but you know, as long as John survives, if John dies, I am going to be so distraught. I am going to be just inconsolable. I think I will just go into a deep depression of like, no, why? Like, you know, yeah, John. Don't kill John. My God, please don't kill John.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know how this is gonna end. I hope there's something exciting in this next episode. Like I'm really hoping Sansa does come back, and there is this whole mirror of the first season of bending the knee, and then John making up his mind to kill Dany or not. I don't know.
How long's the next episode?
Just as long as this one. So it was pretty long. Like the last couple of episodes have run an hour 20, I think. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us. You are listening to Newbies in the Fandom, a podcast that reviews, recaps, spoils, and talks about some of the biggest franchises there are in pop culture, from the silver screen to the small screen. My name is Rachael, and with me is my best pal,
Moya.
Thank you so much for tuning into this channel. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And sorry, life got in the way. We're just a little bit behind on our recaps of the 100, but they will be coming up. So keep a lookout for that. And if you want to know when all our videos come up, please hit the notification button on YouTube subscription. So thank you again for listening, and talk to you all soon.
Bye.